Before the arenas, before the awards.
This is b4Nashville Live. Have a question for our guest?
Send it to us via Messenger.
Here's your host, George Davis.
Hello, everybody. How you doing? And welcome back to Before Nashville. Been a minute. A lot of stuff been going on, and so we've kind of put everything on hold for just a while. But tonight I have a artist from Oklahoma, and she is super busy. I've been following her Instagram and all that stuff and seeing her shows and stuff. She stays pretty doggone busy, and she's got a really good sound. We're going to listen to some of her music coming up. Please welcome to the show, if you would, Miss Carly Nash. Carly, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. So glad to have you on. And I want to thank a mutual friend of ours, Adara K, for kind of introducing me to your music in a way.
She's a bestie of mine. She's a really good friend.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart. She was on the show and we had a good time. And I love her shot in the song, but I'm not doing a shot tonight. So I'm going a little bit heavier.
Oh, yeah,
no. hitting the brown water just a hair. And that did not come out of the faucet, just for those of you that might ask. And so tell me a little bit about yourself growing up. I mean, did you grow up in Oklahoma and you stayed there?
I did. So I'm from a really small town in southwest Oklahoma. It's called Hobart, Oklahoma. Real small.
Population 42, counting the chickens.
I think it's a little under 3,000. I'm not sure. It's probably a lot smaller now. Like I graduated with, I think, 50 students.
Wow.
So it's one of the small southern Oklahoma schools where you play every sport, you're involved in everything, and
right.
That's just what you do. I have an agricultural family. My dad's a farmer, and also a big Catholic family too. So I grew up in the church, and that's kind of what got me started singing at a really young age. I just started singing at church every Sunday, and I did that for, I think, 10 years.
Oh.
Did it up until the day I graduated. Yeah. Going to church every Sunday straight for 10 years, basically. And that's what got me started, really, just growing up in a small town. I always loved singing. And in my hometown, we were fortunate enough to still have music, which was a hard decision for them to keep, to be honest. Since it's such a small school, they had different music teachers. Like every year since I started 6th grade till graduate, there was probably at least 6 different music teachers. And my first one when I was in 6th grade encouraged me to try out for All-State, Oklahoma All-State. It's called OMEA, and you really get into classical choral music. And so I did, and I made it, and then that's what got me into singing and loving music.
So was there a lot of music around the house when you were growing up from your parents?
Not from my parents. It was all from me. My parents aren't musical, or like they're not instrumentalists or vocalists whatsoever. But my dad, growing up on the farm, I mean, he's been in a tractor his whole life. So he's a musical dictionary. You play 2 seconds of a song and he can tell you who it's by, the name, who it's by, what year it came out, everything before like the 80s. When it gets to like 90s and stuff, that's when it's all old music.
So if I partner up with him on Name That Tune, we're likely going to win. Is that what you're telling me?
I've tried to get him to do that for forever and he won't do it. He's like, no. He's like, I don't need to prove it. Yeah, he does not. I don't need to prove that I'm good. He's like, I know him. I was like, you'll take care of the old stuff, and I'll take care of all the new stuff. I was like, we're unbeatable.
Right. The bottom line is you win money. I mean, come on.
No, as a farmer,
right. You're not proving anything. You're, increasing the family wealth there.
You think that would entice him, but no.
Well, I mean, I know when you're talking Southwest Oklahoma, you're down closer to the Texas border than what the rest of it is. You're kind of right there at what is Utah and Texas. Is that right?
Uh,
Or
I don't know. I just know we got Texas and Kansas. And
Texas is there, and I maybe Utah's farther out than I'm thinking. I don't know. I thought Utah with the Southwest it'd be right there. I know Arizona's in
no, we've
there.
got a really big Texas panhandle.
Oh, okay,
Really
okay.
big.
So you're just like
So
kind
I
of
usually
involved
explain
in
it to people. I take my hand, I make Oklahoma, and I'm like, we're right here in the middle of
that.
South.
Okay.
That's backwards to you, I guess. But like, you just take Southwest Oklahoma, we're drop a pin right in the middle, and that's me.
You know, that's a great analogy. I like that because I'm from the boot heel of Missouri. And
Hmm.
when people ask where I'm from, I can just take my boot off and go right there.
Yeah, no, I always got to hold up in Oklahoma for people, and
Right.
it's right there.
That's good. I like that. I like that. Good job. So, what were you listening to growing up?
My main three: Shania Twain, Leanne Rimes, and Gretchen Wilson. That's what
Oh,
I grew up on every day. I was addicted to Shania Twain. Probably
so
sang that all day, every day.
so you had to get a little rowdy in there with Gretchen.
Yeah. I didn't pick out like the music either. They were just CDs that I got as
Right.
gifts growing up as a little kid. And I mean, and my dad is the person I think who probably always picked out the music. I never really asked. But I
Right.
know my mom wouldn't be the one picking out the music. It would have been my dad. So he just like, okay, I approve of this. You can have these CDs, and those are the ones I was addicted to.
So mom really had no interest in music. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Oh, she likes it. She's not the one like me and my dad where she could tell you what the name of it is or who sings it. She's like, "Oh, yeah, I like that song," and that's pretty much it.
I got you. I got you. So we already talked about you were performing in church when you were probably around 8 years old, 9 years, 7, 8 years old, something like that. Um, Outside of church, where was the first place you performed?
Um, I was really big into just unlocked a whole lot of memories. Musical theater. So we have a small community theater in Hobart too.
Uh-huh.
And I really liked being involved in that. But since I was so young, like they did musicals that were, Cinderella or High School Musical. I was just still too young to be lead roles. So I was
Mhm.
in them, but I would never, of course, the parts that I wanted. But I was too young. But of course, young brain can't comprehend why am I not the star of the show. Um,
Right.
but they eventually actually did a Broadway review, and they just got a bunch of people to come together and in that Broadway review performance, and I did Tomorrow from Annie. That was actually um, the first time I'd performed in public, I think, just by myself. I mean, I had done, choir concerts and stuff like that, but
Mhm.
I honestly think that was my first one. And it was very historical, actually. The papers had a lot of good things to say about it.
All right. So do you still have the paper clippings and stuff?
Oh, I don't, but the whole family does, for sure. We even got it recorded on the camcorder. It's all fun.
Oh. Ah, blackmail material. No, I'm kidding. Um, at what point in your life did you figure out that that's the way you were gonna go as far as music? You were gonna chase that dream of being an artist, a singer,
Honestly,
songwriter, all this
not
stuff.
until my last 2 years of college.
Mhm.
Because like I said, growing up in a small town, it was just all sports, and I was still involved in music, and I knew I liked doing it, but just as a young teenager, I'm like, "Yeah, I do it," but of course, I was a hard-headed young girl about it. And my mom put me in voice lessons, and I wanted to continue playing sports because if you're from a small town, you think you're really great at that stuff, which I
Right.
wasn't awful, but yeah, I wasn't, go to a D1 university, play sports kind
Right.
of gal. But that's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to leave the sports world behind. Um, and I had had injuries to that point where I didn't play sports my senior year, and I was like, "Great, my life is over."
Ooh.
So when I got to college, I just wasn't I was undecided, but I still had my music scholarship from the Catholic Foundation. It was like, okay, well, we'll give you this money, but you have to stay like in music and stay in choir. So honestly, that was kind of a little guardian angel. And when I stayed in choir, obviously it was the only class I enjoyed because I knew what I was doing, and also it's just singing. You show up and you sing. And when I was just in the music building every day, I met a lot of good people. They encouraged me to be in opera and the musical theater. And they were like, hey, you're really good. You should try out for our professional choir. So I did. Eventually was like, okay, I'll be a music major, but always knew I was like, I'll never, ever be a music education major. Like, you don't want me teaching your kids. You just don't. You don't want me teaching your kids. I don't want to teach your kids. Um,
Good thing you had that insight at such a young age, considering kids nowadays.
yeah, no, you don't want me being a teacher at all. And but they have a great music industry program at Oklahoma State University. So that's where I eventually landed. And it's just certain things that you don't realize in your life. Just God plan. You don't really know what's in front of you, but you're still following it, even though you're still trying to figure out your own way. With
Right.
the injuries in high school, to the scholarships, to the people that were put in my life, just being involved in choir, kind of led me down that road. And it wasn't until I started working at the brand new McKnight Center for the Performing Arts in Stillwater. It was brand new. Me and one other intern helped build it from the ground up to what it is today. And one day it just kind of hit me. I was like, I guess I just kind of gave in. I've always known, but I'd never gave into it or just accepted it or said, you know what, this is my dream. This is what I want to achieve. Let's start doing it.
Right.
Uh, so it was just kind of a one random day where I was like, this is what I need to be involved in and what I need to do with my life. And at that point, it didn't matter if it was in the Performing Arts Center or if I was the one on stage. I just loved any aspect of it because it was all focused around the performing arts, which is what I loved in general. So
Right.
that's just what it was.
So let's digress back to the high school years, because one of the things that popped in my head, you were talking about sports and how when you got injured, you felt like that pretty much that was it. What was your main sport that you played? That
Uh, so softball was our go-to, fast pitch
Mhm.
softball. Well, like I said, from a small town, so we played every sport.
Right.
Um, we all the girls played softball, basketball, and slow pitch softball. I was a cheerleader too, believe it or not, but that's not how I got hurt. So I'd played traveling ball, I'd played traveling basketball, but I mainly played softball for in
Mhm.
like my younger middle school and like I think might have been younger high school years. I don't know. But the year before my senior year, I also played on a traveling basketball team. In my sophomore year of basketball, I tore my left ACL and a lot of other things
Mm.
during basketball season. So I was out, had to recover. Um, Time went on. And so fast forward to the senior year summer. It was our first basketball game on the traveling team. We walked in. My parents said, wow, that floors looks really sticky. And it was my first basketball game since I had torn my first one. And not even a minute to the game, we tip off, we get it down, and I'm in the post, fake one way, go the other, and I go flat down, tore absolutely everything in my other
Mm.
knee, everything.
Gosh.
And I immediately knew what happened. I will never forget the pain. It sucks. I got really
Yeah.
bad knees, to say the least. My parents' knees are in better shape than mine.
Oh my.
Um, so I didn't get to play sports at all my senior year. And truth all the way out there is that my senior year, we were the best that the school had ever been in fast pitch softball. We made it all the way to the state championships.
Oh,
We're state runner up. We were the best the school had ever been in softball in my 4 years of high school.
wow.
We had a lot of great talented people in our school just at that time, and a really great mentor too. But I didn't get to play my senior year, and I tore it actually in the game. We got all the tests done, and actually during that time between I took the test and we got the results, I was at choir camp. And like I knew what the results were going to be, but there was just still hope. I was like, there's no way, fate is going to not let me play sports my entire senior year. And then I got home from choir camp and my mom told me, and I just sat in my bedroom, I think, and I cried for just a really long time.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so tough, especially on a young girl who's, the
Yeah.
opportunity you thought you had is now taken away.
Yeah. So, but I just knew just the timing and everything. Looking back, it's so obvious. Like I got hurt. I'm at choir camp. Come back and get the news. Oh, sorry, you can't play. I think I kind of knew on one hand, but just never really thought about it that it's because you're supposed to be in music, not sports.
Right.
So it's all right. I got over it a long time ago.
So did you go to OSU directly from high school?
I did. I graduated high school in 2015, went to Oklahoma State University, and had a lot of great time there.
Go Pokes, right?
Yes, no Pokes. I can't speak for our football season right now, though, but loyal and true for many reasons. It's just because we're a great school. It's not based on just the football team.
Hey, I know the feeling. I'm a huge Cardinal fan, and they absolutely sucked this year. So,
Cardinal football?
baseball, St.
Baseball,
Louis
okay.
Cardinal baseball. Yeah,
That's actually the team that my family loves too.
I'm
So
sorry.
I'm a Green Bay Packer fan, a St. Louis Cardinal fan, and an OSU Cowboy fan.
Well, I'm not going to go into it because we're probably going to have some words if I do that.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Hey, we got the Cardinals in common. I'll just leave it at that. How's that one? So after you got to OSU, is that where you started writing songs and were you performing a lot while you were in college?
Yes, but the solo country singer-songwriter career didn't start until about the end of 2019, 2020. Like I said, I was involved in choir, opera, musical theater. And when I had finally decided to be a music industry major, it was kind of the first year. The major had existed before, but they hadn't had everything set in stone yet, and just still had so much to build out of the major, like
Right.
student organizations and stuff like that. So it was the first year of me being in that major, and the first year of us starting a singer-songwriters guild and having music industry associating meetings and really getting connected with other artists and just kind of planning out, this is what we want to achieve being in this major. What can we do? What can everybody bring into it to, help me help you, basically, and help each other. And
Right.
the director of the major, he knew owners of a venue in town called the Iron Monk. It's a brewery, very popular brewery in Stillwater. And he knew the owners, and he set up a deal where we started a weekly or a monthly singer-songwriters guild. And we would go and perform there. It was the first Monday of the month, just to get students used to being in public, performing in front of people, just kind of knock the fears. I mean, it was a Monday. And you could do covers, you could write your songs. And if you just wanted to play piano, you didn't have to sing and play guitar to do that. It's just whatever you wanted to perform. He said, I don't care if you just stand up there and write poetry, that could lead you to be a songwriter in the future. He just wanted us to get experience being in front of people and getting used to basically breaking down that wall of actually performing and not just have it in the comfort of your own home and yourself. So that's what kind of that's what led me into it. And then my parents were like, we need to get you a guitar. So they did. I got a guitar one Christmas. And after I performed at all of them, and people were like, wow, you need to do this. I was like, I know you're right. I want to. So I'd teach myself how to play the guitar, and I just did covers for a long time because I had nobody um, really around me that could teach me songwriting. Also, I'm very stubborn, and I like to just say, okay, teach me how to do it and I'll be able to do it. I'll be able to do it. I'm not the traditional learner where I take lessons and everything. It's all self-taught. So I finally dabbled into songwriting. And looking back now, I look at all the songs I first wrote and I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope nobody ever hears those. But you got to start somewhere. So
Right.
I did. And after playing the venue a couple times, and at the age we were at and all the bars we were at there said, hey, you come play here. So I just started playing multiple places. And my friend was a bartender on the Stillwater Strip at a new venue or a new bar. And they were new, they wanted business. So she talked her manager into booking me for a weekly gig. And so I played every week on the Strip. I also participated in Funkin' Beers, which is a funk band. I just sang a couple songs with them, but so I did that every Thursday almost. And then I had my own gig on Wednesdays and whatever my choir was doing. And it just kept going. It just never stopped. More people just said, you need to play here. You need to play here. I was like, great, I'll do it.
So you talked about the songs and that you had written when you were younger, and you were like kind of holding your head in your hands, going, "I hope nobody ever hears this."
Mm.
But have you ever gone back and revisited any of those songs and thought, I could tweak this, or I could change this, maybe this
Mhm.
chord progression, change the key, something, and found one that you felt like really worked?
Yes, I've tried. I've done it on one song. I actually wrote it called Oklahoma Sunset. And the first time I wrote it, I was like, it's really good. But then I'd perform it. I'm like, okay, that's just not good. And actually, not a couple months ago, I revisited it. I rewrote like the rhythm and everything. I changed the key and everything. And I was like, oh, this is so much prettier. And then I play it now. I'm like, no, it's still not good. So I've tried changing them. But I think just for my brain, once I hear it one way, it's hard for me to imagine it another. So
Right.
that's where I would love to help my artist friends be like, okay, how do you think this would sound? Other
Right.
people's brains would really help me out in that situation. And I'm all for it.
And that was the next question, actually, because I'm going to say, have you ever thought about collabing with somebody and taking that to them and saying, hey, whether it be a songwriter, being in the room to write a song together or whatever, and say, hey, I've got this song. I wrote it when I was younger. I want to kind of do some different stuff. This is kind of what I've changed up, but you know, what would you do with it if you had written this song? What changes would you make, be it lyrically or in the melody or something in the instrumentation, somewhere along in those lines?
Yeah, I would love to have my friends help me come and collaborate. And I just know so many artists that could help me out with their style and also just their knowledge of other things, other instruments. The only thing that holds us back is just we're all super busy. We have all have our own gigs and everything.
Right.
So that's really the only thing that's ever holding all of us back because we always talk about we need to get together, have jam sessions, do some songwriting, do collaboration work. And it's just, there's no free time for us to ever do that.
Right. Well, and the odd thing is that group that's in the Oklahoma and the Texas area. Okay, I'll say the area, not necessarily in the music, but you guys seem to stay a lot busier than most artists do. I mean, y'all are out, humping and getting it constantly. I mean, you're just show after show after show, and you don't have that time to do those kind of things as much as you might like to.
Hmm. Yeah. The Oklahoma music scene is crazy. There's so many artists. But what I will say about it, and that actually me and a lot of my friends have talked about lately, I think we stand out from most of them because I just being in Oklahoma, it's everybody knows everybody here.
Right.
Um, and I haven't been in a situation or a setting or a performance yet where, not everybody supports everybody. That's the exact opposite of what the Oklahoma music industry and the Oklahoma scene is. All the artists support everybody. Like we're all a big network of people. We might not know everybody because you can't know everybody,
Right.
but everybody has, their connections and their people. And it's the most supportive industry that I've ever been in.
Right.
And that's what I love about it. But also that's where it can come back to the point where if everybody supports everybody, there's so many of you. But I just choose not to look at it that way. I'd rather be a lot more half full than half empty on that one.
Right.
If you're not supporting other people, why would you expect other people to support you? So
Right. So do y'all, I mean, as artists and a group of artists and being as tight knit as what I'm understanding that the Oklahoma artists are, and I know several from Oklahoma, um, do you guys kind of like, I guess in your network, are you sharing like venues? Because sometimes you'll have somebody that has a venue that they go to and nobody really knows about it or something like that. And you say, hey, I know I'm a regular there, but I got a weekend to play somewhere else or something like that. So I need somebody to cover. I mean, is that kind of the network that you guys do?
yep, that's what we do all the time. Like me and Adara, we've just gotten to be really close. Um, well, I do a lot of song swaps with her just because I want her there, and it's a lot more fun when she's around. Like my friend Brandon Bethel, he's had moments where he's accidentally double booked something. He's like, "Hey, can you cover this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll do it," and it just introduces us to more and more venues and more people, in
Right.
different groups. So anybody that's ever been in my circle has always been that way, and I'd like to be that way for other people too.
That's awesome. I like the way that y'all take care of each other. I mean, that's the best way to put that. You're taking care of one another. And that's one of the thing I think a lot of the independent artists they try to do. Um, but when you get artists, that are from different parts of the country, it's a lot harder to do. But if you're in your sphere of influence, so to speak, in around your home, it is easier if you got that network of friends and artists that you can do that with.
Mhm.
So, um, what is it about your music that's so unique that people just gravitate to it?
First and foremost, the only thing people really say is, "Wow, your voice."
Hmm.
um, I have a very loud, holistic, just powerful voice. I'm loud. um, and so that's usually what gets people hooked. And I like to write and sing songs that really kind of show the vocal range and show stuff like that. And also my songs that I write, um, I'm more of a storyteller songwriter.
Hmm.
So it's all kind of like not I don't actually sit down and write poetry, but I like to be very I don't know, I guess intricate. I'm not good with huge words. But I just don't like to do the bare minimum when it comes to writing lyrics and the words and what they actually mean. I think the
Right.
more kind of creative you get into it, the more relatable it can be. Does that make sense?
Oh,
It
absolutely.
yeah, so if I just kind of write uh some rather than just I went down the street, grabbed a beer, and just simple words like that and explaining it, but rather actually using a lot of pretty words or like, I don't know how to describe it. Just a
Yeah.
lot of prettier words.
Yeah, grab the Corona on the boulevard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't. Uh, so Now, from a songwriting standpoint, what is the one song that you have heard that you go, "Ah, dang, why didn't I write that song?"
Man, I think it definitely has to be um, the Highway Song by Cat Hasty. Just because I really love that song. I'm a huge Cat Hasty fan, but I just love that song. It fits me to a T. I like the way that I sing it. It really shows the vocal range. And I've
Mhm.
just gotten a lot of compliments on my singing. I'm like, "Man, I love your version way better." I'm like, "Thanks." But
Mm.
I'm like, "The real good version's great too." Yeah.
Does that ever make you feel bad that people kind of say, you did that song better than the original writer, especially when or performer, whenever you love the song so much?
It does. It does. But I also would be lying to you if I say it. I'm like, "Oh, well, thanks." Yeah,
Well, then maybe
I
a
feel
little
both.
bit of guilt trip.
It's a little bit it's honestly, it's both.
Um, if there were two bands that you could pick out to go on tour with, who would they be?
Do they all have to be alive?
No, no, not at all.
Um, oh, that is so hard. Because all my favorite bands and stuff are, like, from the '60s and don't match my style whatsoever. Um, well, my favorite band is the Little River Band, believe it or not. Uh, oh, I don't know. I'm just gonna say, definitely Queen, for
Okay.
sure, just because why not? And, ugh, Dolly Parton.
There you go. There you go. My girl right there. Dolly. Love Dolly.
I'm all
Uh,
over the place. I love rock and roll, and I love old school country.
hey, hey, Dolly just released the rock album. Come on. There
Yeah.
was nothing wrong with both of those. If Dolly can do it, anybody can, you know?
What would Dolly do? Exactly.
Exactly. WWDD, maybe. That shirt's been out, been sold many, many times. Um, so I get my hands on your phone. Don't freak out. I get my hands on your phone and I open up your playlist or your like your Spotify or whatever you listen to. What am I going to find being the top 10 artists that you've listened to?
Ooh, honestly, I don't know. Because like I said, I'm all over the place. One day I'll be listening to rock and roll. One day it'll be classic country. One day it'll be all classical music. And
What?
one day, yeah, just the choral music in the choir world that I'm still really involved in and everything.
Right.
It depends on what mood I'm in. Right now, you say top 10?
Yes.
Um, Greta Van Fleet, Turnpike Troubadours, Zach Bryan. Honestly, I listen to a lot of Adara's music right now because I love her and she's a really good friend. Uh,
She's great. I love her to death. She's
yeah,
just awesome.
she's the best. Like I said, Adara, I listen to a lot of J.R. Carroll. Love that guy. And let's see, who else do I listen to? Definitely Whiskey Myers. I
Hmm.
their songs are honestly just very seductive to the ear for me. Love singing along with them. Cat Hasty for sure. Let's see who else. Honestly, my phone's right here. It's all. I've really been big into the throwbacks for right now, though. Let's see who else. Oh, I'll always be listening to the Little River Band, obviously.
Ah,
Um, a lot of, uh I like a lot of bread. I love bread.
I
There
do too, especially when it's toasted.
Yeah, I love bread. Yeah, like I said, I really love the band Bread.
Yeah, yeah.
I really also love Jackson Browne. I gotta throw them in there. I don't even know how many that is. I could keep going.
I think that was pretty good. Sorry, I've got my in-ears in tonight, and one side, it's like the little phone thing is wanting to get all Yankee on me here. So, you've got a very eclectic taste in your music, which I like. I mean, there's not one of those bands that you mentioned that I'm not a fan of. I mean, honestly, other than I will honestly say Kate Hasty and Jara Carroll, I'm not familiar with. Please forgive me. Um, and I will check those out. I always try to write down notes when people bring up other artists because I like to listen to them.
Yeah,
Um,
JR is definitely a big one. He's in Zach Bryan's band. He's also an Oklahoma dude, an Oklahoma
okay.
musician. I've played with him before in a tiny little town in Copan. Uh, got a lot of mutual friends, and
Hmm.
I just love his music, love his voice, super talented, and overall just a great dude.
So let me ask you a question. Since you brought up Zach Bryan, my wife has asked me this question. What is it that people see in Zach Bryan? What is so special about him that all of a sudden America has just gone gaga over his music? I mean, Something in the Orange was the one that put him on the national stage, quite honestly. And I know he had a lot of stuff out before that.
Um, there's so many different ways I could answer this, to be honest.
Hmm.
Um, but specifically music wise, his music is honestly, to me, its own genre.
Okay.
Um, the way the way he writes the songs, they're so poetic. Um, but also yet so simple.
Right.
And I think it honestly just came it's kind of fate playing into music's hands. It came at a time when, I don't know, just people didn't expect it and people probably needed it.
Hmm.
Um, to me, that's just honestly what his music does. It really speaks to me on a lot of different levels. And with it being just so poetic, like I said earlier, when even it comes to my songwriting, it's just when you make it in such an artistic way, it can be relatable in a lot of different ways.
I got you.
And I think that's one of the things people as songwriters learn eventually at some point is just you can make it black and white if that's what you want to do, but honestly, the more not necessarily secrecy that you put into it, but like the imagery and that you do put into it, the human mind when it comes to all that artistry and everything it just takes its own, you know, it takes
Right.
its own path in its own way. And I think he just I don't it's not something he studied or it's practiced on. It's just something that happened, just kind of fate, to be honest.
Right. I like when you say it, it can be black and white, but I think with Zach's music, what he does, and I'm going to stick with kind of an art theme here, is he puts more color into it to make it more, it's brighter, it's more uh, satisfying, like a painting would be to the eyes, the music would be to the ears. He just
Exactly.
very intricate. I mean, the guy is good. I ain't deny it. He is good. I'm have in the last probably 4 years gotten really into more of the red dirt stuff because,
I
I
see.
mean, I worked in radio for 40 years, and I didn't even know what red dirt was till about 6 years ago. So, as far as music goes, the red dirt Texas stuff, and I'm glad I found it because it's starting to. It kind of led to where we're at right now with a lot of the music. Because if you listen to music now and you listen to music from 5 years ago, it's starting to go more the way it was. You're not getting the synthetic drums and the
Mhm,
keyboards and the auto tune and stuff like that. It's more raw,
mhm,
you know. Everybody loves Oliver North's Richmond, north of Richmond, you know.
mhm,
And the thing I love about the song outside of the lyrics is just the simplicity. I mean, he's just playing a slide guitar, a resonator guitar, and he's singing, and that's it.
mhm. That's
And
what I think a lot of people like about Zach too. He's
Mhm.
not pop country, basically.
Right.
It's one of the things that kind of came in and was like saved country music in a way.
Right. He's one of those that I would consider, um, you know, I, I'll, this is my ideation of country music. Country music is split up into a lot of different subgenres. You've got country rock, like Jason Aldean, Brantley Gilbert, those guys, and you've got country pop, Kane Brown and um, Kelsey Ballerini and some of those folks. And then you've got country rap, of course, the Lax and Colt Ford and those guys. And then you've got like what I call traditional,
Mhm.
modern traditional or neo traditional, however you want to say that. I try not to use big words because then I look dumb because I really don't know what they mean. They just sound good.
Sounds like me.
Yeah. So you get like the modern traditional country where it's like the Zach Bryan and the oh gosh, Tyler Childers and Cody Jinks and those guys, they're old souls that are in the 2000s, the mid 2000s or early 2000s, I guess. I don't know. We're about a quarter of the way through the century, so whatever you want to call it. But and they say that everything, like especially like they say fashion, every fashion trend comes around like once every 30 years. And I think the music's the same way. It's been a long time since we've had that kind of music. If you look back, the 90s were uh, kind of where we're going back to now. Maybe a little before. A
Mhm,
lot of people are going back to kind of the Johnny Cash type of music as far as instrumentation and stuff like that.
mhm.
Just like my buddy David says, it's just going back to basics. It's just stripped back. It's from the heart. There's no you're not looking to get number one on the radio. If you get number one on the radio, then good.
Yeah,
I've heard a lot of artists say, "Oh, I'm writing a song for the radio." You write the song for the fans because they're the ones that's going to make it number one on the radio.
yeah.
Supposedly, Nashville. I'm going to put that little blurb in there because they know that I know how they work. Um, so
Yeah.
Nashville doesn't like me anyway, so I don't care. um, but so before we go any further, because I mean we're golly, I didn't realize we've talked for a while here, but I do want to play one of your songs as soon as I can get my computer to cooperate with me because um, and this is one I couldn't decide which one I wanted because I like them all. Um, So I'm gonna let you pick which one. There's three that I found on Spotify. I have to play them off Spotify
Yeah.
because I had some issues with my recording. But I have Call Me Guilty, Don Wayne, and of course I Will Always Love You. I don't know where you picked that one from, but
Um,
uh,
definitely Don Wayne.
all right, all right. So we'll go with Don Wayne, and I'll tell you now. Once the show's over, I'm going to put Don Wayne on the Before Nashville playlist. And if you're watching and you're listening, go put Carly's music on your playlist or download it, whatever you got to do. Follow her so that when she's got new music coming out, which will hopefully be soon, that you can pre-save it or whatever, because that just helps the artist. So be sure to go put, yeah, you can put them all on your playlist. I mean, I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm doing Don Wayne myself. So here you go. This is Carly Nash with Don Wayne.
He's the captain to all his friends. The stiff one's how he got his name. He's why we raise hell, praise Dale on Sunday. He loves the Lord and it shows. But he's a sinner, this he knows. He's a one of a kind and his life is what he chose. No, there'll never be another like John Wayne, or outlaws like Jesse James, Clapton and then Six String, one name fame. I'm proud to have his last name. He's a daddy's girl, my best friend in the world. No, there'll never be another like him on this earth. 'Cause he's my Don Wayne. He's why I love rock and roll. The Naughty Murphy picture shows. He's why I love God's land, a football fan. He holds his family in his two hands at the final time to teach me wrong from right. He says, I'll be your daddy till the day I die. No, there'll never be another like John Wayne, or outlaws like Jesse James, Clapton and then Six String, one name fame. I'm proud to have his last name. He's a daddy's girl, my best friend in the world. No, there'll never be another like him on this earth. 'Cause he's my Don Wayne. He'll always find the time to teach me wrong from right. Says I'll be your daddy till the day I die.
All right. That was Carly Nash and Don Wayne. I'm going to go out on a limb here. Okay.
Okay.
That was written about your daddy, wasn't it?
Yes.
And the second thing is, I bet your daddy's name is Don Wayne.
Yep. Don Wayne Nash. That's him. And my middle name is Dawn. So.
Oh, is it D-A-W-N?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like that.
I thought maybe I thought maybe they spelled it D-O-N. I mean, hey, you know, to each their own. I
had no say in it, so.
Right. Well, and listen to the song. Okay, first off, a great song. I love the references to John Wayne and Johnny Cash and all of that. And I mean, anytime you can do that, you've got me right off the bat. Your voice is, you were talking about how strong it was. And in that song, I mean, it's, even though it's kind of subdued, you could tell that if you get into a song, you're probably going to give your front of house guy fits.
Yeah. Been there, done that.
So when you're, excuse me, this is one of the questions that I love to ask because it's kind of a poll question of sorts. Every artist, it doesn't matter who you are. I've seen Kenny Chesney, he's done it. Luke Combs has done it. Riley Green has done it. Everybody does it. Cover tunes. They play covers in their shows. What's your favorite cover to do?
Ooh. Well, that Cat Hasty song's pretty high up there. But honestly, it's got to be Folsom Prison Blues because, first of all, I'm a huge Johnny Cash girl.
Uh-huh.
I didn't really notice it, but I have a lot of references about him in my songs, or like quotes that he said, made up of Johnny Cash things. But when I play it, nobody really has heard a female sing it before.
Right.
And when I sing it, I can really belt it. And when people hear it, they just really enjoy it. And I enjoy doing it. So I really love doing that.
Do you kind of change it up a little in the instrumentation and the vocals to make it your own, or do you stick very true to what Johnny did?
Um, it's just in a lot higher key.
It's like Johnny Cash with tighter underwear, folks.
Basically. And I like to make it just kind of a little bit more dramatic with the higher notes, but other than that, I really like to keep a lot of the originality, if that's a word.
There you go.
So,
Originality. Yeah, that'll work.
yeah, in the songs sometimes, because in my opinion, sometimes just the song is just that good. Like you honestly don't really need to do anything to it,
Exactly.
and that's definitely one of them.
Right. Right. When you're getting ready for a show, what normally takes you the longest? Makeup, hair, prepping, vocal exercises, whatever. Clothes, picking out your outfit, that kind of thing.
Outfits are actually always planned in advance, just because that's just what I do. The
Mhm.
outfit's very important to me. Um,
I will say that some of
honestly,
your outfits are very flashy, so it would take a while to do that. I don't
yeah,
mean that in a bad way. I'm just
no,
saying.
I like to put a lot of thought into them. For me, it's honestly just the amount of time deciding when to start to get ready. Because I'll just say this, I'm usually always late. I'm always late doing everything. Always. So honestly, I'm usually very rushed getting ready. And I can get ready pretty fast. So
That's too funny.
definitely don't ever miss out on the vocal warm-ups though. That's the most
Right.
important part. But I
Keep
guess it would definitely have to be the makeup just because.
just because that's the way girls are. I've
Yeah.
I've got 2 daughters. I know how it is. Trust me. I know how it is. Even though they're away from home now, they've grown up, they've got their families, they're doing their own thing. I still remember. Actually, one of them, I had to build her a vanity that had what was that, 30, was it 36 by 24 mirror? No, it was bigger than that. It was much bigger than that. It's more like it was like a 4 foot by 3 foot mirror. I don't know. This thing is huge. And then it was kind of like the
The
makeup rooms in the old studios where it had the
lights
huge
all over.
lights.
Yeah.
I mean, you could land a plane in her bedroom when this thing was on. It's so bright.
Yep.
And so, I mean, she asked me to do it, and I did it. So, that's just the kind of the way that goes. Now, you play a lot of, like I said, you play a lot of Oklahoma and Texas. So you're playing a lot of Southwest Oklahoma, kind of South Central Oklahoma. You're playing a lot of Eastern Panhandle places and stuff like that. what's this one stage that has been your favorite to play on? For whatever reason, be it audience size or just the feel of the venue, or you just clicked that night or whatever.
I would. Ooh, that's also a hard one because I enjoy so many different versions of the way I do things. Like I enjoy if a bar scene, if the crowd just
Mhm.
wants to get rowdy and it's a fun night. I also enjoy the moments where honestly it's not very many people and I can just be kind of more intimate and do a lot of the music I don't do before. But honestly, the most fun I've ever had was when I did the Oklahoma Smoke Show
Mhm.
pre-party at the BOK Center for Zach Bryan's concerts in Tulsa.
Mhm.
That was awesome. The crowd was wonderful. The weather really, really, really sucked because it was so hot, but it was a blast, and I just loved it because it was me up there playing my music on a big platform like that, and the big BOK tower with my name on it. That was pretty cool.
That would be
Um,
pretty awesome.
yeah, that was. I mean, I guess that was pretty cool. So I just really love that, and I had a lot of support there too. Um, so that's all. Even though there's a ton of people in the crowd, a few of the most important ones were there, so that pretty much made it all worth it.
Right.
I really, really, really loved that.
So I'm hoping you have no family watching right now, because the question I'm about to ask you, and it's more your answer, and I shouldn't have said that because now you're probably going to assess your answer very much.
Me and
What
my parents are actually like really close, so
okay.
I'm an open book.
What is your most embarrassing stage moment?
My parents were actually there. Um, so I'll just start off by saying I am the clumsiest person that I know. I I am the person where I can't even count on both hands how many times I have fallen over while just standing up. And that phrase was made up. Yes, I fall over when I'm standing up. Um I was I was at a bar and it wasn't embarrassing, honestly, it's just funny because when embarrassing things happen to me, I'm just such a klutz. I'm just used to them. Um I was sitting in a chair playing and singing into my microphone, and I guess I had leaned too far forward during mid song, and they just fell over, just kept tipping over forward, knocked the mic down. I caught myself though, and the guitar was okay, and everybody just stopped and looked. I was like, "It's okay." I just fell over the chair. It's fine. Picked it back up and just finished the song. Yeah.
Yeah. So did you look at some guy out in the crowd and go, "Sorry, I've just fallen for you," and just keep right on going?
Oh, definitely not. No. Like I said, though, I'm just so used to being clumsy and things happening like that to me. Like, they're not embarrassing. It's very hard for me to embarrass myself at this point because of how clumsy I've always been. I think it's funny, so everybody else should think it's funny.
Right.
Yeah.
Um. So what um what would your karaoke go-to song be?
Right now, hit me with your best shot.
Good one.
I just
Good one.
really like that song.
Anything in
Oh,
particular about it that you like, or is it just overall?
I like the vibes. It's also I really like the fire away. I like singing that part. And people are like, dang.
I got to tell you, I played drums when I was younger. I haven't played in a long time, other than just around the house. And that song was one of the first ones that I learned to play drums on when I was like 16 years old. Yes, I just dated myself. Thank you very much. But that was one of the first songs that I ever learned to play on the drums, and I just loved it. I wasn't even in a rock band; I was in a country band, and we never played it. I just did it for like a practice warm up type thing because
Mhm.
I mean it's got some pretty good, where you're working your arm, and your hands on that drum part at the very beginning when it starts out. So it's kind of cool. So. But anyway, I could just see you doing that song and then hitting that, and then people just be like sitting there talking, and then all of a sudden they're going, "Huh?"
I've actually done that multiple times if there's random karaoke. Actually, it was at the Little River Band concert at a casino in Hinton, Oklahoma, and they had karaoke going on outside. So I was like, I'll go up there, I'll do it. Just because it's fun and people don't expect it.
Right.
And nobody in the crowd knows, oh, she's a professional. That's what she does for a living.
Right.
I'll go up there and I'll do something. Everybody just immediately kind of stops and is actually paying attention. Because I have a very love-hate relationship with karaoke, and that's kind of what I'll say about it. So,
Maybe we need to explore that.
let's just say I am a vocal coach, a professor of voice, if you will.
Uh-huh.
And, some people just flat out don't sound good, and it's kind of painful.
That's the nice thing about karaoke. My thing of karaoke is you don't have to sound good. I mean, you're not getting paid for it.
Yeah, no,
you
you
know.
don't have to, and it's all about having a great adult time. But sometimes I just can't hide my feelings. Actually, I can never hide my feelings. That's a lie. On my
I got to
face,
be
I can't
honest
hide
with
my
you.
feelings.
I'm not a vocal coach, but I'm the same way. I hear a bad karaoke singer and it's like, nope, I'm out. See ya.
Yeah, no.
you know, I'm not going to say what I normally say, what I have said to some people because it is kind of rude. But I have told some people that they probably better off staying off the stage, and not that nice of a way. I mean, it was even worse than that. So, um, so what one song? Okay, now are you working on new music?
Always.
Okay,
For me in my songwriting, I don't ever like to force it. People are like, oh, I try to sit down, you know, every single day, hour a day, try to write something, yada yada. My methods and my ethic doesn't work like that. If I'm just feeling musical or feeling creative or artsy, I'll sit down, just kind of throw some things, and then 30 minutes later, I got a new song. It's
right.
kind of how my process works. It's just like, oh, so that's what's been sitting in my head. Okay. And then out comes a new song. Like the song Don Wayne, I just sat down to write a song one day because my parents were just really on me, like, you need to write new music, you need to write new music. And then that song came out in like 15 minutes. Had no intention of ever writing a song about my dad like that, but it just happened.
Yeah, and that's sometimes some of the best ones, the ones that you don't put thought into, that may not have been in your head so much or so long. Because when I think, and I'm not a songwriter by any stretch, but I can think as a songwriter in saying that that song gets stuck in your head and you've got a certain way you want it to sound, and then it's just like you lose it. But if you just sit down, you write something, sometimes those sound so much better. You just put too much thought into the other one for some reason,
Hmm.
you know. Um, and speaking of that, what time of day do you feel like you're most creative?
Right now. I'm a night owl through and through. Anybody that knows me will tell you that. I'm not a morning person whatsoever. I like my sleep. So I'm definitely a night owl for sure. Just any time of night.
Okay,
Hmm.
all right. If you could go back to your say, okay, you're going into high school, you're what, 14, 15 years old. If you could go back to your freshman self in high school and give yourself one piece of advice from what you've seen and what you've experienced and where you're at now, what advice would you give yourself?
You have 100% power and your own choice of who is in your life and who is not.
Wow. Wow.
And no matter what age, you always have a choice of who you want in your life and who you don't.
That sounds like it comes with a lot of experience.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It actually sounds like a country song in the making.
Yeah.
So what have you got coming up as far as shows go? You have anything in the books right now?
Yes. Awesome things. Actually, this weekend, Friday night, I'll just be performing at a local bar in Yukon, Oklahoma, which is not too far away from me. And then Saturday is the first annual Chicken Stock Festival. It's in a little place called Arcadia, Oklahoma,
Mhm.
at the Chicken Shack. It's the first year that's ever happened, and they're building it up to be a festival that's going to be pretty big. We're in about, I don't know, probably 6 or 7 years. They can actually have big names, like probably Turnpike Troubadours or people like that come.
Right.
And it's first year doing it. And I know almost everybody on the lineup. It's a lot of good people, a lot of good friends of mine with Jason Scott and the High Heat. They're the headliners. It's going to be a really fun time. I think I'm the only female on the lineup too. So
Really?
yeah, there was another one, but for some reason I think she can't perform anymore. She can't make it, but so that leaves me being the only one that I know of. And we've also got Calf Fry Christmas coming up in Stillwater, Oklahoma, in the beginning of December. That's going to be
That's a
so
tumbleweed, right?
yes, that's the tumbleweed.
I didn't know they had cat fried Christmas.
This is the first year they've ever done it. So obviously
Okay.
the tumbleweed is known for calf fry.
Right.
And they've always tried to do a fall festival and have it to where they have 2 festivals a year. They got their big calf fry and something else in the fall. But nothing's ever stick. They've tried outside city limits and they've tried multiple things. And so I think they're hoping that this one sticks.
Right.
It's also hence the name Calf Fry Christmas to try to tie the two together. So
Right. There you go. I
it's
mean,
gonna be
nothing else. I have not made it out for that. I've wanted to go, but I just haven't had a chance to go. So
You are so missing out. I was there all 3 days this past year with a
Mhm.
really good friend of mine. And we had a blast. I
Did you
actually got
play?
oh no. I played at the after parties, which is just my friend's camper and a lot of other artists.
I
Um,
like that. The after parties. Is that what they're called? Or
well, that's
yeah.
just what we call them because
Okay.
there's all there's the whole lineup and there's actually is an after party show
Mhm.
inside instead of outside. There's just an after party inside in the
I get
venue.
you.
Yeah. So we were the after parties. And a lot of the artists that were performing, they would come to and just hang out with us
Right.
and just play around the campfire.
See, that's what I could get
No
into.
campfire.
You
It
know,
was a blurry weekend. There was not a campfire, I'm pretty sure.
maybe there was, or maybe it was all in your mind. Who knows?
I don't know.
I know. I'm familiar with with tumbleweeds and stuff. I'll just leave it at that. So that's. But I really have. I wanted to go out there and check it out. Maybe next year I'll get the next. What is it? When is it usually in?
First weekend of May, usually.
Okay, first weekend of May. So maybe I can get out there in 2024 to check it out. I have my my boys live out in like Southwest Missouri at Lake of the Ozarks. I know that's still a ways over, but I don't know how far it is from there.
I couldn't tell
Um,
you. I don't know.
I'm guessing another 3.5, 4 hours.
I have no idea.
How far is it from you? Okay, if you do the Oklahoma, how far is it from you? If you're right here,
So Oklahoma City's right here. Stillwater's right here. Missouri is right here at my wrist. Excuse
so
my
we're not that far
iron.
away.
Yeah, no, it's
So
probably a good 3.5 hours, probably.
yeah, we're just a couple of veins lengths away.
If only it was that easy.
I know, right?
That's a question you need to ask artists: is if you had a superpower, what would it be?
Right. Oh, there you go. Hey,
Mine's
let me
definitely
message.
teleportation because I'm very forgetful.
As a matter of fact,
I forget a lot of things.
if you could
What
have a superpower, what would it be?
and that would really solve my problem of being late everywhere. Hopefully,
Sure,
actually, it probably wouldn't. I'm not watching. It probably wouldn't.
because you could always go back if your makeup wasn't right and just start all over again real quick.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot something. Let me just go back real quick and get it. That's
Yeah,
usually what I have to deal with. Is I forget something.
so when you're getting ready for a show, because I just ran across this on my list here, and I want to actually I'm going to change that one up. I'm going to go with a different one. That this is one of those I actually got from another artist.
Mhm.
Um, what and you probably mentioned this earlier. It may tie in with the iPhone thing, but what songs are on your road trip playlist?
It's a I'm usually listening to a playlist I made called Old School Rock and Roll. Um, and my dad helped me make it. It's 20 hours long.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I don't think it takes well yeah, it probably does. It takes about 24 hours to get across the US.
Yeah. But
Or
that's
30.
usually what I'm listening to just because it's the longest. Also, it's just the most fun. I'm all about 60s and 70s and 80s music. So it's just all that. It's the Animals, Leonard Skinner, Led Zeppelin, Kansas, anybody. That's my main playlist.
Any Cyndi Lauper or any
Yep,
of the
she's
that
on there. Like you name them, and it's a 20-hour playlist. You name them, they're on
they're right. It's 20 hours. Come on, dude. Really?
there.
How much music can you cram into 20 hours? Well, let's see here.
No,
Working
don't
in radio, I can tell you an average hour for music is going to be, and this is just radio, is going to be about 14 songs.
yeah.
So 20 hours and 14, you're talking about what? A lot of freaking songs.
My dad, I introduced him to Spotify not too long ago, and he's so into it. He loves it because of all this. I mean, just all the music in the world basically exists, and he put
Right.
it on the playlist, and he's so mad that my rock and roll playlist is longer than his. This is only at like 8 hours. I was like, well, mine's at 20, so.
So, so we can listen to mine the majority of the way on a road trip, and then we'll put yours in. Okay. Just
Deep Purple, AC/DC, Scorpion, ZZ, Janice, Four Non Blonde, just like Motley Crue, Van Halen, all kinds of people.
see,
Oh, I
we
love
have a
the
lot of,
Doors.
oh yeah, we had a lot of similar taste.
Cheap Trick, Foghat. Love
Yeah.
that.
Cheap Trick. I remember I've seen them twice live, and the second time I saw them, we were in Nashville. It was during country radio seminar, and we were on the General Jackson showboat that Sony had rented out. And Brad Paisley was up there singing, and all of a sudden, here comes Rick Nielsen from Cheap Trick playing on just jamming, and then here comes the rest of the band, and
That would
it
have been
was
cool.
it was awesome. It was awesome. We met Trish, my wife and I met Trisha Yearwood on the boat. That was really cool. Um, Garth wasn't there, unfortunately, but we did get to meet Miss Trisha. So, but that was really cool.
That's another Go Pokes.
Yeah. Take that, Garth.
So many greats come out of Stillwater, Oklahoma, honestly.
Yeah.
It's the birthplace of red dirt. So
There you go. See, I did not know that, so I learned something new tonight.
it is. Texas tries to take all the credit for that, but it started in Stillwater, Oklahoma.
I did know that it wasn't necessarily a Texas thing, that they were just trying to uh, claim it. Um, I forget what they call that, where they do something like that. But anyway, I did read where it came out of Oklahoma as opposed to Texas. Um, Stillwater, I didn't know was the actual birthplace, but I did know more it was Oklahoma.
Yep.
Um,
Stillwater Strip.
and like I said, I mean, I think the music has gotten so it's getting so prevalent right now. I mean, in my area, we don't really have anybody that plays it, but I can guarantee you, if I put a radio station together and put, I don't know, even if I just made it like I've been a program director, so forgive me, but even if I put like 30 to 35% red dirt music, that station would blow up. You know, you do that, you put 30 to 35% of 80s and 90s, primarily 90s, and then the other 30% you're doing not the poppy country, but you're doing like the Luke Combs, the Zach Brown band, the guys that are considered country, Zach Bryan, that kind of, well, Zach Bryan can go on either one nowadays. Um, but the guys like that, Jason, do the little Rocky stuff, Jason, some Brantley, kind of like the guys that are badasses and outlaws. That's actually a really good playlist name, Badasses and Outlaws. I need to write that down. Make a new playlist.
A lot of my music was made by a friend of mine. He calls it Keystone and Cancer Sticks.
No. That's great.
I'm gonna write a song about that too, Keystones and Cancer Sticks.
There you go. That's a good title. That's
It
a real
is.
good title.
Yeah. I'm probably gonna have to give it to a guy though. It definitely sounds like a guy's song.
Yeah, well, depends on once you get it written and you see how it sounds. It might be something that you could pull off.
Never know.
You have to get a little more Gretchen Wilson and a little less, Shania and golly, dang it, Blue. You told me your name at the beginning. It just slipped me. Leanne Rhymes. Yeah, and the little voice finally told me.
Oh, I hate
A little
to,
less.
but my computer's gonna die. Let me grab my charger real quick.
All right. so like I said, real quick, while Carly's getting her charger, you guys go to any of your streaming and download her music, add it to your playlist, because they always get notification when you add their songs to their playlist, and that helps out the artist and help just to kind of do what they got to do. So we want to keep all that. The only reason I don't say that is because I'm not exactly sure. I mean, I know it helps them out in the placement in where they are. So keep that in mind. We there she is. She's back. I'm just rambling. So be sure to add Carly to your playlist. Like I said, you can add all of her songs. We were talking about new music earlier and what you were looking at as far as it coming out and stuff. Any plans, anything right now?
I do, just nothing set in stone because I'm gonna be moving. So we're really busy with a lot of things. I want to get moved, resettled,
Mm-hmm.
kind of get my life back together for a little bit. I've wanted to put new music out there just because, that's what everybody wants. I also don't like to rush it. I like to do everything at my own pace when I feel everything is the right time.
Right.
I don't know if that's actually, I do know. I think that's just hard-headed me coming out. um, but also, it's been really hard for me to put a band together. So
Right.
me and my parents have just been researching it and just asking other artists, like, what we could do. So I think I've finally settled on just going to a studio and just recording a bunch of demos and then taking it to another place and be like, what can you do with this?
Right.
So I think that's what we're going to lean on. Even though that's how my brain, I've always been, no, I want, a room full of my friends, people that I know, people that I trust, helping me put this together to help their creativity, their talents and their stuff show too. But, just sometimes that's just not the way it works out, which is fine. So,
Right.
and that's just kind of where I'm at right now. And I'm still, of course, I would still love that to be the journey, but that's just not where I'm at right now. Finding that full band. So we're gonna try it and see how it works out, to be honest.
Right. So are primarily because like on the song on Don Wayne, it's just guitar and a fiddle, violin, however you want to phrase that.
Yeah,
You
my
know,
friend, he plays the fiddle. Yeah,
I've
no,
always wondered the difference between a fiddle and a violin, and somebody told me once it's the spelling.
um,
Okay.
there's not a difference really. It's just I usually do call it a violin because classical me just
Hmm.
really got for how big I am in the classical world.
Right.
And then just being my fiddle player, my friend Connor, he's like, it's not a violin, it's fiddle. I'm like, okay, fine. Whatever. It's a violin, but whatever.
Violin puts you to sleep. A fiddle will pep you up.
Yeah. Just you play it like a fiddle, not a violin. So um, I lost my train of thought. What were we talking
I'm
about?
sorry. Oh, we were talking about.
Oh, yes. Okay. So I also have
Sorry.
a really bad squirrel brain. So
Hey,
I
I chase rabbits all the time. I chase them more than my dog does.
yeah, I have a really bad squirrel brain. So I have a friend who he has a little recording studio in his basement, and he's very professional, and he's actually really good at it.
Hmm.
And it's something I could afford because I paid for it all on my own.
Right.
Um, I just booked some time. I said, hey, I want to record one song and put it out there. And I said, but I want to record some other stuff just to have as like some demos. And so we did. I recorded it one weekend. The next weekend, my friend Connor came up. He just threw a fiddle part in, and that was it. Played some fancy picking notes, and I just said, that's it. And for me, that's all the song really needed because it was just nice and simple. And um, it was more about the lyrics than the actual song. So
Yeah.
the actual music of it. And my dad, he loves the fiddle, so I was like, that's kind of really all that it needs.
Hmm.
Just me and a fiddle. So
Is that song? I mean, I know the way you sing it, and I could see you as it was playing. There was a little bit of borderline emotion there. But is that an emotional song for you to do? I mean, would you ever, or do you ever sing that out on like at a show?
I sing it every time. Everybody always requests that one. It's usually everybody's favorite song.
Hmm.
Uh, I'm not really an emotional person. So no, I've never gotten like choked up about it. I just smile really big. I'm like, there you
Right.
go. um, because I wrote it, it just means so much. It's so different to what everybody else hears compared to what me, my mom, and my dad are really the only three people on this earth that will ever understand every aspect of that song.
Right. Right.
And to us, it's really funny. Um, and even not even my older brother, like he'll kind of know, but it's just really the three of us that'll know every aspect and meaning, like deep meaning to that song.
Hmm.
And I wrote it because anytime I would be out with him feeding cattle, or just anytime, you're around parents or just my dad in general, I get a life lesson in some kind of way. And one day I just finally asked him, I was like, why do you do this to me? It's every time, like, you have to turn every single moment into a lecture. I was just like, why are you doing that? Not being serious or anything, just being funny. I was like, why you got to do this? And he looked over to me and he put his hand like on my shoulder while he was driving. I remember exactly where we were. I remember exactly what road we were on. And he just starts patting my shoulder. He's like, I'll be your daddy till the day I die. I just like melted inside. It's like
Uh,
that's the cutest thing you've ever done.
uh,
And so those words just stuck with me. So
wow.
that's how that song came about.
That's I mean, I'm just sitting here thinking about that line, and it is so amazing. I'll be your daddy till the day I die. I need to tell my kids that, I'll be your daddy till the day I die. Of course, sometimes they may think, well, you can do that any day now, but depending on what kind of mood they're in.
Yeah. And that's why I chose to end the song with that because
Right.
it's the whole point. Like a lot of him has molded me into. I am my dad in a younger body and a girl's body.
Hmm.
So, like to a T, to the point where I can't be around him too much because at that point I'm just
Oh, yeah.
yeah, because me and him are so the same. Um, and oh goodness, he just makes me shake my head. There's so many things I could say in a cute way.
uh, it's always one of those things where you just go, love you, dad, and just leave it alone.
Yeah, pretty much. I do. I love you dearly. That's all I'll say.
um, so we talked about you got a lot of shows, or you've got shows coming up. You're going to be playing and around the area of, I guess, Stillwater, Hobart, and there. Are you in Stillwater now, or are you back where are you living right now?
I currently live in El Reno, Oklahoma.
Okay.
That's just where my full-time job was.
Okay.
But I'm actually going to be moving back to Stillwater, Oklahoma, because I just really want to be in Northeast Oklahoma. Because if you actually look at all of the sections and everything, Northeast is that's the musical one. So
Kind of hot spot. Yeah.
yeah, I wanted to be closer to Tulsa, closer to Stillwater, and closer to more artists.
Right. Right. I've got another artist friend from Oklahoma. I don't know if you know him or not, Austin Dixon.
Yeah, I actually do. He's a friend of mine. Yeah.
Yeah. Great
We know
guy.
everybody.
Yeah. I'll just tell you this: if you ever get a chance to talk to him, and I'm trying to think of the guy's name that was hanging out with him. He
Jeremy
did a show
Studdard.
for me. What's that?
Jeremy Studdard.
I think it was Jeremy.
Yeah, they're besties.
Ask him about his boot. I ain't gonna tell you nothing else. Just ask him about the boot.
Ask him about the boot. Okay.
You're gonna get a kick out of this story. I'm here to tell you.
Yay.
Yeah. Be ready to roll or pee your pants, one or the other, because I think I did a little bit of both. and and I will say this: no excessive alcohol was consumed in the telling of this or the making of this story. Now, keep in mind, I did say excessive. There was alcohol involved, I believe, but there was no excessive alcohol involved. So that's what makes it even funnier, because you can't make this stuff up.
Usually, if they're drunk, though, it makes them pretty funny too.
So, but anyway, where can folks check you out at with your socials and all that stuff? Give them your handles, your ID, your
On Instagram and Facebook, I'm at Carly Nash Music, and I do have my own website that has a lot of links to everything. It's carlynashmusic.com. I'm not a Twitter or TikTok gal. I have them; they exist, but I'm old school. Instagram and Facebook. That's what I got. That's what I
That's
use.
me. I've tried to put some stuff up on TikTok, and I generally do like what they call a headliner, and I'll like clip a part of the show out, and I'll try to put that up.
Yeah,
Uh,
there's too much work to put into it.
yeah,
No.
yeah,
I know I'll eventually have to, but
yeah.
I don't really want to.
Well, you can do just as much on TikTok. I mean, most of the people are on Instagram. Most people on TikTok, as far as artists go, they're just like, "Oh, here's my new song," and they give you a little teaser, and that's it. I mean, you can do that on Instagram.
Yeah,
You know,
do that anyway.
um,
The only thing I do on TikTok is also you can see a very big turquoise jewelry
yes,
collection.
yes.
So yeah, this is my daily accessory look.
You
But
and my wife would get along great. She's big into the turquoise. She hasn't got a lot of rings yet, but she's got necklaces and earrings and stuff, and
yeah, I'm always packing. So I just started doing like a turquoise jewelry collection because a lot of people actually, when they see me in public or at my shows, are like, "Wow, I love your jewelry. I love your rings." And then people are like, "I'd love to see it or anything." And my friend just told me one day, "You need to do like a turquoise collection on TikTok." I was like, "Okay."
Mhm.
So I did.
See, there you go. You want to get a somebody that could
Mhm.
uh not so much sponsor, I don't guess, but yeah, maybe sponsor, but you could be what they call influencer. For is find a turquoise ring company.
I actually do have a very good friend of mine. She's a very famous influencer, and she is their main representative for their turquoise
Mhm.
company. And so I've actually seen all into the influencer life and seen, how that works, and that's not for me.
The good, the bad, and the ugly. I get you.
Yeah, no, she's a good friend of mine,
I
but
get you.
influencer life is not for me.
Well, I can understand that. I try to stay away from it too. Unless it's the lottery and I can't win the big one because somebody else did. So
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice?
I'll influence for the lottery. I'll tell people go out and win lottery tickets if I win a big one like that. But hey,
Kidding. If I did that, let's just say I'd have a lot more music out there, and I'd probably
oh,
already have a band.
I've always told people you'll know I win the lottery because you will never see me again.
That's a good way to put it.
I will be gone. So you got your social media, you got your website, you got new music coming out at some point. I mean, you're working on it, and so we'll just leave that. Again, they can check you out on all the streaming platforms. You're on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, all that stuff. Uh, Pretty much. I can't remember all the DSPs. There's too doggone many of them nowadays.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, I lose track after Spotify and Apple and Amazon. After that, it's all downhill.
Yeah, I see. I don't ever been to Amazon. I don't even really know that's a thing because I'm not an Amazon person.
Right.
So I'm like,
See,
oh,
I've got my my podcast is out on a lot of that stuff when I put it out. So
should I know that stuff? Yes, but do I? No.
no. Next question: do you care to know that stuff?
No.
Okay. I figured that'd be the answer after you're saying you don't know it, and it's like, no, I don't really care to know it either. So, all right, you guys go check out Carly Nash. Check her out on her website. Check out her music. She's got some good music out there. I can't wait to hear more. I love your voice. It's just a really good, soothing. Your music is not over the top. It's just it's almost kind of mellow. I drive 45 minutes to work, to and from every day. And if I had enough of your music to listen to, that's probably all I'd listen to
No, thank you.
until the next show that I had coming up. And then I'd have to listen to that. But I go back to you because I really do like your voice. I think you got a
Thank
great
you.
voice.
Oh, the
So,
new music that I have coming out. There's a lot more of the mellow stuff, but there's also just I'm two different ends of the spectrum. My friends have just told me you either write, soothing, happy family Jesus songs, or they're absolutely like screw you songs. There's like no in between. There's really not. There's no
it,
love songs. There's no whatever the in between would be. It's just really sweet and awe. And then there's
yeah.
forget
Yeah.
you songs. So
Yeah. Kind of like I'm wondering right now which one Travis Kelsey's going to get after he and Taylor Swift break up. Because it's going to happen.
who knows? Who cares?
Exactly. Yeah, I don't want to get on that subject too much, but it was so funny tonight because the whole pregame, the Chiefs and Denver are playing tonight in Kansas City. The whole pregame was about freaking Taylor Swift. I'm sorry, excuse my language, but who the hell cares?
Obviously, too many people.
Right. Now she was there. Of course, they had to show her.
Yeah, but who cares?
Again, who cares? Exactly.
I
You
don't
know?
want. I don't want. If I wanted to see Taylor Swift, I'd buy tickets to her show. I'm there to
Yeah.
see the football.
If I wanted to see her, I would buy tickets to her freaking documentary that's coming out, but I'm not going to give her any of my money. I'm not a Taylor Swift fan. I'm just not.
Me either. I'll listen
I,
to some
I
of the music. I'll say I'm not. I'm not a. I think they call them Swifties.
yes,
What they call them?
yeah.
I
Well,
don't
that
have.
was
I don't have a problem with her. I'm just not a huge fan.
yeah. That was one of the first concerts I took my daughter to was Taylor Swift,
Yeah.
and that was a long, long time ago. And even then, it was like over the top production.
Yeah.
So I did walk away with a vinyl like poster sign thing that they had up on the wall. I probably shouldn't say that in case the venue's watching.
Yeah.
she, she don't care. That's probably why she put it up there so people could snag them and go take off with them. That's what I
Probably
did.
made money doing that anyway. So.
I gave it to my daughter, so nobody knows. She either has it packed away or she has no clue where it's at either. But I don't know, it might be worth something now. Maybe I need to find that. That could be my lottery ticket right there. She didn't sign it, but it could be the lottery ticket. There you go. Sell that for a couple of $1,000 on eBay or something. Everybody else does. So anyway, go check out. Let's get off Taylor Swift. God, I'm about to get sick. Check out Carly on her website. Check her out on all the streaming platforms. Carly, you have been such a jewel to be on tonight. So wonderful to talk to you. I've loved it. And I can't wait to hear more music, and hopefully someday I can have you back again.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, maybe you and Adara put out some kind of duet, and no, maybe not. I don't know if I can handle both of you.
Not many people can. No, I'm actually
Right.
right now trying to convince her to do a duet on A Color of Mary Jane by
Oh,
Blackstone Cherry. It would be so much fun. So she plays that she plays that song live. I
right,
lose it, and it's so much fun. I was like, we could
right.
turn that into a really cool harmony, really cool girl power song. And she's like, oh, yeah, let's do it. So I need to get her actually on board. Like, okay, we're doing this.
There you go. There you
And it
get
will
her.
be so much fun.
Get her to sign on the dotted line for that one.
I know it would be so awesome. It really would.
That'd be great. I tell you, that would be another one. I wouldn't even have to interview you. It goes straight on the playlist. End of story. Because that would be great. The two of y'all together. She was a joy when I interviewed her, and you have been too, and I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on. And
Thank you.
I'll hey, you're welcome. I will definitely be keeping an eye out on your career and trying to see what else we can, where else you're headed, and we'll stay in touch for sure.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. So everybody be sure to tune back in, kind of up in the air about Monday night right now, trying to figure out some stuff. So hopefully Monday night will work out, and I'll be back on with another country star of tomorrow to introduce you to right here on Before Nashville.
Before Nashville is proudly sponsored by Go-Go Tuners, the go-to tuner for professional and amateur musicians. And that's a wrap. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to follow Before Nashville on all social media and listen wherever you get your podcast. Tune in again for another country star of tomorrow on Before Nashville with George Davis. I'm Kevin Casey on behalf of Worldwide Pants. Have a great night.